reasonable for a whole host of reasons, but you got to talk about the flow and the cash story, because that's what's going to keep this going. Even though people are getting concerned about valuations, we still think there's $1 trillion to go into the equity markets. And if you look at S&P 500 balance sheets right now, they're back to pre-pandemic levels. You have over $2 trillion in cash ex financials, and you still have the yield, the search for yield. You're at 3.3% on the equity risk premium above bond yields. And if you go overseas, international equities, you're even higher than that, cheaper than that, at over 5.5%. So I think there's still momentum here.
I wanted to add one more reason why a lot of people are pointing to for the gains in stocks, Steph, and that's the dollar. It continues to see some pretty strong weakness, down almost 0.7% today. It's down more than 1% for the week. Those are huge moves, actually, for currencies. And it's being considered this gauge of liquidity, whether it's the Fed or all the other central banks. As long as they're all pumping money into their economies, it seems like the dollar weakens, and that's a green light for stocks. How important is it for you?
Oh, I keep a close eye on the dollar. The DXY is down 7% year to date. Why? Because it is going to help S&P 500 earnings. As I mentioned earlier, Stanley Black & Decker, every quarter for the last 3 years, they've been complaining about currency, right? How much it's been a headwind. So if this turns to be a tailwind, I think that's very positive. As we know, 70% of the S&P, 70% of the S&P 500 have earnings overseas. So there are going to be a lot of companies that will see this tailwind, and I think that that's positive. I think what's also happening, and what's interesting just to watch, as the dollar weakens, you are seeing commodities certainly starting to rise. Since April, steel is up 65%. Aluminum since April is up 40%. Copper's at 7-year highs. And I think these are things to watch. They're very important, because if there is kind of a snafu in the market, it might be that the commodities are starting to sniff out a little bit more inflation. Nothing run away by any means, but right now we're not pricing any of that in right now.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.